The vacancy on the High Court just might be giving some people the push they needed to head to the polls on Election Day, which, by the way, is exactly 6 weeks away. And today is National Voter Registration Day, a day to encourage anyone who's eligible to sign up so they can vote in November. Joining us now is St. John's University political science professor Browne. So, Brian, a week ago, the elections seemed to be all about the coronavirus. Now it's the Supreme Court. Do you think what happens here will sway voters, and who will be more motivated to vote, Democrats or Republicans?
Well, it's a great question. And I think you're going to see energy on both sides. Certainly for Republicans, it's a historic chance to get another seat on the high court. And for Democrats or those who oppose this process right now, they'll be energized to get out and have their voices heard.
All right, so what is the GOP's best strategy when it comes to filling the vacancy and winning the election?
Well, there's a lot of different scenarios, and it really depends on how you approach this. Some would say that Senator McConnell would be better to wait until after the election in order to drive out voters on Election Day and help preserve the Senate. Others would say no. If you have the votes, don't delay. Lock it down and get it done before Election Day. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out in a very condensed amount of time.
Yeah, and two of President Trump's top prospects are Catholics. So you think that can hurt some people?
Yes, and that's always a big voting bloc, as we know. And we're going to see how that energy coalesces around whoever the eventual nominee is.
All right. Now, years ago, some liberals were urging Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire so President Obama could appoint her successor. Obviously, that didn't happen. And of course, we know that a lot of positions she took were at times at odds with Catholic social teaching. In an interview in 2014, Ginsburg suggested if she stepped down, no one as liberal as her could get confirmed. So how do you think that decision shaped the court?
Well, I think, over the years, we've grown accustomed to the Supreme Court having a liberal bent and a liberal majority. And I think, at this point in our time and history and the way it has happened, again, President Trump getting the chance for 3 Supreme Court picks is really unprecedented. You haven't seen that since going back to Reagan. So it might be a time, if it all plays out, that society and voters might have to adjust to this new normal of a conservative-leaning court.
Now, there have been some rumors swirling that Ginsburg's dying wish was for her seat on the Supreme Court not to be filled until a new president is elected. Do you think there's any truth to that, or is it just a rumor made up to stop President Trump from getting his pick?
I've seen some reports where people in the room, other than family members, I think there was a doctor in the room who attests to it. It's very likely that it occurred the way it's been described. And I don't really think that should necessarily matter at this point in time. It's really, we have a process. It should be a fair and just process. We can argue about the timing of it, but we have a process in place to fill these vacancies, and that should happen.
Okay, today is Voter Registration Day, as we mentioned earlier. So how do you go about registering to vote? And, tell us what St. John's University is doing to get people registered.
Sure. So National Voter Registration Day is really a day to get everyone registered to vote. It's a nonpartisan effort. It goes on across the country. Different states have different guidelines and deadlines for getting registered to vote. So you really go online. There's all sorts of resources that you can avail yourself of. Here at St. John's, traditionally, we would be doing in-person voter registration drives. Like every organization, we're remote and we're doing it digitally. A lot of messages on social media. We do have voter registration forms available throughout the campus for students who are New Yorkers to meet the October 9th deadline. And again, voting is a virtue. It's an important part of being an American, an important part of the Catholic social teaching. So that's really what we're trying to emphasize today.
All right, so get out there and register. Browne, professor at St. John's University. Thanks for joining us, and we'll check in with you again after the first presidential debate.
Coming up soon. Thank you.
If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and then click on the bell to get instant updates about all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.